No, I've never done anything like this before, and I was like super nervous. Like I actually like sleptwalk last night.
What?
Yeah, so we were like laying in bed, and I think we were asleep, and I like bounded out of bed and like turned the lights on and jumped back in bed. I'm like sitting in the bed, and I'm like, babe. And of course he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are you turning the lights on and all that? I'm like, what are the crustaceans that go like this? And I'm dead serious. I'm like,
this was in your sleep?
yes. And then like I kind of woke up, and he's like, why did you turn the lights on? Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And I just got up and like turned the lights off and like just got back into bed. But yeah, I was like, what kind of crustaceans go like this? Like, oh my God.
Have you sleptwalked before?
Yeah, my whole life. And I told my mom this morning, and she was just like, yep, that's what happens. Like, I'm just kind of nervous. I've never done anything like this before, and I hate the sound of my voice, so I'm gonna be stupid. It's kind of and she's like, yeah, that's I've tried to escape our house. I've stole the bedding off of like my I was like 5, and I just jacked like a whole queen size comforter off my parents' bed and like shoved it into like my little girl like laundry hamper with like the little hearts and shit on it, like crammed the whole motherfucker in there, and like got back into bed and just like went back to sleep.
Okay, so I'm trying to imagine, as sleepwalking, like, I don't know if I just watch too many cartoons or movies or shows. I'm like really imagining you like
I don't know,
Brothers,
dick
like,
all what's going on.
You're kind of like your eyes are halfway closed, or are you like coherent?
I think my eyes are open actually, and like I actually will sleep with my eyes open. Yeah, and like
not bright, wide open, or just kind of like lazy eye.
Like open. Like sometimes they're like cracked, but like a lot of times it's like open. So like I'll start dating someone, or like it's a big deal for me to spend the night at someone else's house because I sleepwalk. I sleep with my eyes fucking open. Like we were on a family vacation in Hawaii, and I like was sleepwalking, and I literally like me and my brother were on a bedroll on the floor. We were like 12, and I like go over to my dad's side of the bed, and I'm like, what's wrong with your finger? And he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like my dad's just like, go back to bed, Crystal. So yeah, I just went and got back on the bedroll and went the fuck back to sleep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Do they say like how you act? Do you communicate with people? And like, I mean, like, are you aware of who's around?
I'm completely unaware. Typically, we had a house. I was like 13 or 14, and I was like a lot of stress. Usually it's a lot of stress. Anytime I'm really stressed out or really nervous about doing something, I'll sleepwalk the night or like 2 nights before. So like I think I was having to go for like, we thought I was gonna have to have some hip surgery when I was like 14. I got like a track injury, and we had an alarm in our house, and I just was gonna go the fuck outside, and I was like, bye, and the alarm went off, and it woke me up, and I just instantly like started crying and freaking out. My parents were like, oh my fucking God, like, you know.
Whoa.
Yeah, so like the whole thing of like don't wake up a sleepwalker is true, because like you'll just have like an emotional meltdown.
Oh my goodness. Have you ever like picked up stuff like weapons?
No. Oh God, like nothing like that. Like I just apparently like steal other people's bedding, like apparently, and I'll just go in there and like ask you weird questions that like, you know, it's like me. I just like got out of the bed and I get back and I'm doing the crab hands. I'm like, what kind of crustaceans? Like fucking crustaceans, really? But yeah, it's
man. So like, do you like before fashion shows and stuff? Like the night before is when you sleepwalk.
So
when's the last time you slept walk?
I haven't really like. Oh, if I haven't really like noticed. I guess, or I haven't done something, because it's like, okay, so like this sounds really, really creepy, but like when I first had my kids and we lived in an apartment, I remember one time I was like sleepwalking. I think it was like the first night I had the twins by myself without my mother staying with us, and I woke up just like in their nursery like a creeper, just like standing there, and I was like,
God, that's so creepy.
I'm going back to bed. Oh
that's
my God,
like paranormal activity shit. Oh
yeah.
My God.
Yeah, it was just like, and of course they're just sleeping like little angels like they do, and I'm just like. And at first, like, I kind of thought, like, my son had kind of, like, gotten that, like, from me. And I was like, oh, no, it's genetic. Like, he's a sleepwalker. Because he used to, like, wake me up. And, like, he'd just be standing there. And I'm like, oh, no, he's, like, sleepwalking. And then he's like, Mama, take my booger. And I'm like, not sleepwalking. All right, give me the booger. Go back to bed, kid. Like, all right, I'll come tuck you. Let me get rid of this. So, yeah, I've done it since I was, like... I don't know. Probably, like, the first time when I stole all my parents' bedding and put it in my... laundry hamper when I was like 5 or 6.
That's That's young.
And my mom asked the pediatrician, and he laughed, and he was like, so I'm sure my wife has some funny stories about me. Apparently he used to like hang his work pants, like his dress pants, like from the ceiling fan and shit. Like she'd just wake up and he's just like standing in the fucking bed, just like hanging his shit up on the ceiling fan. I'm just like, okay, I'm not a freak. All right. It just, yeah, it doesn't happen often. But usually like the night before shows, I have to like be very like ritualistic about like going to bed. I thrive on routine, so I always have to like just do my...
Does it mostly happen in your own bed, or like when you go over someone's house? Does it happen at hotels?
If it's ever happened at a hotel, I don't remember, but hotel doors are like really heavy. So yeah, if it's happened, like I've woken up in the bathroom a couple times, but you know, we all do a sleep pee sometimes.
Yeah.
It's whatever, you know, you don't wake all the way up and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm awake, all right, we're going pee, let's do this. But I don't really think so. Usually I was never allowed to like spend the night at other people's houses.
Oh no.
Because like my mom was like, oh, she's gonna get him to do weird shit and they're gonna think I have this weird kid, and like it's like you do, but it's like they didn't want me like escaping like out of someone else's house, because I would like open the garage door and stuff.
That's so weird. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's really weird. And like I did it last night and I was so like, what was this morning? And like Jake was like, so do you want to talk about last night? And I was like, no, I don't. Like, no, actually I don't want to talk about it at all. Like,
how many times has he caught you?
It's the one time with
just one.
It's your fault. It was like the one time with the crustacean.
Yeah. See, I've never slept walk, but I definitely wake up screaming or talking in my sleep. And poor John, like he would like wake up with a heart attack because I'd be like, "Shut up!" or like something like that.
Shit.
Or like sometimes I have dreams where I feel like something is like poking me, like. I could physically feel something digging into my rib, and I would wake up like, like thinking he's been stabbing me the whole night. I don't know.
John, you asshole. Do you do the sleep paralysis thing where it's like your brain kicks on, but your body's not with it yet?
Not really.
That's
I've had lucid
terrifying.
dreams, but yeah, not. I know what you're talking about, like the weight on your chest,
and like you can't.
Well, I have dreams where I want to fight and I can't like swing.
Oh yeah, where you try to punch and hit someone and
it's all
nothing. Like, God damn it! I just want to knock this person out. I don't hit people in real life. Let me do it in my dream. Like what the hell? Yeah.
I do have reoccurring nightmares though of my ex-boyfriend all the fucking time. It's always the same storyline. I think, okay, so like he's Asian, his parents are Hmong, and they believe in shamanism. So I like firmly believe he put a curse on me or something, because we've been broken up for so long. I dated him when I was like 21. That was like,
still have.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Certain stuff is just like really fucking impactful though, and it just like sits like in the back of your head, and it's just like weird things will like trigger stuff off. So it's like,
that's
I mean,
true.
I can see that, even though it's like it's been like such an amount of time. It's just sort of like
yeah. I also have dreams where I'm driving and the windshield is covered, and I'm like somehow driving and not running into shit.
Like you're in a fucking car wash, or like
like it's like there's like an obstacle or something.
Oh, I'm like, are there locusts? Is there like a piece of like a large piece of concrete? Are you in a car wash? Are you not supposed to be? Like what?
And then I heard, I don't know if it's true, but have you heard that you're not supposed to be able to read in your dreams? Like you think you could actually make out a word, but it's all like jumbled, but your brain processes it as, you know.
I get a little...
Aren't you a doctor? Dr. Crystal Green,
like,
everyone.
I don't really know. Actually, I'm not an expert. I don't know. Oh, like the pressure. I'm like, wow, I should have done some research before I came. I wasn't ready. You're going to ask me some tough questions. I didn't know they were going to be about like dream theory, but I do my best. I don't know.
But speaking of which, since I did just mention your name, I think I should introduce you to everybody.
Yeah.
We have fashion designer, lingerie maker, model, mother,
imposter
daughter.
syndrome. I'm like, am I really all those things? Because I'm just like, I'm a fucking single mom just trying to get by without child support, making panties. I don't know. Like, I just don't view it as that. It didn't
you're so good.
It didn't have a very glamorous start.
Really?
So I don't view it as very like.
You gotta tell all today.
So long story short, I have 2 beautiful children. With a total piece of shit. Just who's completely gone and out of our lives now. Yeah. And like, I wasn't getting any child support. And I knew I was gonna have like some like financial stuff like coming up. Like, I don't know if you ever bought shoes for small people before, but they're expensive. Like, and in my family, like my great grandmother had hammer toes from like wearing shoes that are too little. So it's like, clothes, we go to Goodwill because they're gonna trash them anyway. Get everything on sale. Shoes are like serious shit. Like, if you don't have a thumb between the end of your shoe and like your big toe, like they're too small, get the fuck out of here because nobody's having weird feet in this family. Like, so just stuff like that's expensive. And then you have like, they start out in one size car seat and then you have to get another car seat. Which nobody preps you about this stuff. You're like, we just fucking bought a car seat and now I have to buy more car seats. And like, I have dinosaur kids because it's like, we moved in with my parents and like my mom started like helping me like with them and stuff. And it was just like breast milk, cereal, solid foods. My mom's like, it's fine. Just put them on food. It's fine. Give them the cereal. It's what your pediatrician's stupid. Just give them that when you were having cereal at 3 months. So we started feeding them. They like grow. So they just grow and grow and grow. So it was like a lot of stuff like that. And it's just like, you know, I need stuff. I was working like 2 jobs. I was a substitute teacher and I was working part-time like at a beauty company. And I was like working in a pair of boots that had holes in them. And I would have to walk from a parking lot to the store, which was like a mile depending on. It was like a satellite lot in an outdoor mall. So I was like walking with holes in my boots and it was just like, you know, and I've always sewn. I've been sewing since my grandmother taught me how to thread a needle when I was like 6. And then my mom started teaching me to use a sewing machine like the next year. And so I've always sewn. I've always had access to a sewing machine, like always. And I was just like doing these sketches and stuff like that. And like, I'm really lucky I have a really like encouraging, just like really supportive like boyfriend and family. And it's like, you know, my mom was like, these are really good. Like, you should try to make some of these. I'd played with it before, just like I'm kind of hard to fit and stuff. And basically my boyfriend bankrolled me like $50 to start my business, and he bought like the first couple yards of fabric and like lace and mesh for me to like play with, and I had some trims and elastic and like some hardware and stuff. And it's just like, I still have like the prototype of the original like Lolita set that I made, and I look at it and I'm like, this hardware is so dingy, man. Like, and now I use like jewelry grade like metal alloy hardware and stuff. This was like metal black nylon coated, and like none of it was the same size. And it was like, so definitely like from some non-glamorous humble beginnings. Basically it's like, I gotta buy my kids some shoes, and it's like I'm already working 60 hours a week, and it's like I have to do something. So I was like, I'm gonna try this, and if it doesn't work, you know, he was like, take the money, get the fabric, whatever you need. Like, he just I sent him links and he ordered the stuff. It's sitting in my house. And it was like, you know, if I'm out $50, I'm out $50. He was like, whatever. It's not a big deal. And I was just like, what is this masculine support thing that's happening? Because I don't know, you know, like, I have a great dad. He's just very like quiet. And it's like, now he's like, he'll be like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, it's a thong, but it has this strap that goes here, here, and here. And he's just like, it's just not his realm, but like he appreciates the craftsmanship, and he's like, that looks great. He's so sweet. And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it, Dad. He's just like, you know, when I lived with them, it was just like crotchless panties all over the place, and he's like, you're doing a great job. I'm like, I know.
What made you want to do panties first?
So honestly, it is, you don't need a lot of fabric. So it's like
smart
$50 in the scale of like bralettes and panties is like a lot of money to play with, especially if you're not buying like really, if you're buying things like mesh and like stretch lace. It's like you can really stretch that. Like, so it was just an expensive startup. And like now that I have like more funding and I have like consistent like money flowing through and stuff like that, it's like I actually want to do like I would like to do a wedding gown this year, just to like try.
You could do it. Aren't you doing like Renaissance stuff right now, kind of?
I am
Italian.
Yeah, I'm starting to research like more historical costuming. And like my last show, it was in New Orleans. And the theme of the event was like the 9 circles of hell. And I'm like, well, it's not going to translate super heresy. Okay, like, I can do a nun outfit. That's obvious. So I switched it to like the 7 deadly sins because it's like some of my, this was my 3rd show. And every time I do a show, they get bigger. And I get more like ballsy, and then by the end I'm like, this was so stupid, like why did I do this? But I did a mix of like, a lot of it was like just like really like fantasy costuming, and I did a lot of 18th century French, so I kind of like mixed some of those silhouettes, like the very Marie Antoinette, like the stays, and like, but then I kind of like did it how I do everything, which is like, how much lace trim and sequins can we put on this thing, and like rhinestones. And I actually made like a half gown that was like all red, and I just didn't do like the underskirt, so it was just like leg and like gown, and it was, there was a lot of crying. There's a lot of crying. I have like a whole like text message DM support. I'm like, look at this, it's so ugly. And they're like, okay, actually it's really not, you just hate everything right now because you're stressed, you're gonna be okay. And I'm just like, nobody tells you a sack back gown, like the old school ones that look like they have a cape on the fucking back, go through this really, really ugly phase that you're not ready for. And I'm like, what is this shit? I'm like, this is my closer. This is like the most personal and important look to me, is my closer, and it's like a pile of shit right now. Like, I don't even, just red taffeta crap. I was just, and then it turned out beautiful. It was amazing. I'm so proud of that thing.
You've got so many pretty designs, though, like, for real.
Thank you.
The one that I wore for Elysium, that fashion show. What
Carnival.
Was it? The
Vampire Carnival.
Oh, it was so pretty. I feel like I fucked up, though, man.
Like, everyone is just like, I don't have, like, okay, so I actually was in my last runway show because, first of all, I, like, housed everyone in New Orleans or whatever. It's like, if I'm going to ask all these people to travel to another state to be in a fashion show, like, I'm going to at least give them a roof. You know what I mean? And, like, so you start doing math and, like, house occupancies and stuff like that. And I was just like, so I'm going to have to start running again. Yeah, so I actually snuck into my own show, and I remember right before, and I was like, I can't believe I asked people to do this. This is so stressful. I was like, oh my god. But for shows and stuff, I like to bring on like a lot of my friends or people like contemporaries that I just really genuinely enjoy, like their presence, or like, because that's just, it's, you know, I always try to like feed everyone, or like have everyone like get together beforehand so everyone can kind of be around each other and like do hair and makeup together, so it's very like communal. And that's how I do like a lot of my group shoots, because like, especially here in Austin, it can be a little, what's a good word? I'm trying to think of a good word. It's not always like the most positive, like creative environment, if that makes sense. Especially like, you know, I really try to be thoughtful about like who I pick in my shows. Are these models gonna vibe off each other? It's like that one at Carnival had 2 guys in it, and it was just like for me, it was really like I knew that like getting ready in the back of Elysium was gonna be like getting ready in a traveling circus caravan. Like, I was like, we're gonna be on top of each other, like literally. And I was like, I need to bring on men that are respectful and, you know, value women and, you know, aren't fucking creeps. Because it's like, every time I turn around, I'm like, you too? Oh my God, really? Okay. So it's like, I really try to be thoughtful when I bring everybody on. And like with this last show, it's like, we were all staying in the same house. Like, because it was a whole weekend event. So I invited everyone to come. You want to come for the whole weekend? Come for the whole weekend. Like, we'll all hang out together. It'll be super fun. There's a bunch of events and parties we can go to and stuff. And so it's like we're all going to be living in this house together for like a weekend. So, yeah, like I have to be really like choosy. And there was a few times I was just like, okay, well, this person and this person, it's like we can just, you know, have bets and see who lives the weekend. So like we just won't do that. So yeah, there's a lot of that like also goes into it. But it's like people do get nervous, and it's like there's a huge difference between doing runway and doing print.
Oh my God,
like photos, like in a studio and stuff like that. And it's like, my first show, I had 20 models, and like 90% of them were like photo models. But like that show, I didn't pick any of my own models. Like the stage manager did it for me because I was just like, I don't know how to do this. This is my first show, and like now I gotta pick my own models. It's whatever. But at the time, I was like, oh God, I was like, I don't even know if I know 20 girls that would want to come walk for me. And I was like blown away at the response that the stage manager got, and I was just like, really? Or like I got emotional about. I always get so emotional. I'm such an emotional wiener. Like I cry over everything. like today I found something that I thought had gotten stolen. I was like, just crying. I had to text my mom. It was a whole thing. I'm a crier, but yeah, I was like really blown away at the response. But it's like so many of them would get. Yeah, it's like models that are brilliant models. They know what they're doing. They get in front of a camera. They emote. They move. Like they're flawless. And then you put them on a runway, and they're like, oh, yeah. And plus, these events are always like full of performers and people, and they're always like these jam-packed things. It's never a chill environment,
right? That
you do these in. I don't know if fashion shows really do exist in a chill, calm environment. But yeah, even for me, it's really over. I have to be drunk or something. I'm like, you don't want to meet me at one of my shows because first of all, I'm probably not going to remember you. I'm not sober. And if you catch me at the wrong time, I'm just going to be like, can you come back? Like, I don't even know where I am right now. Like, like my first one, I was like sitting in my boyfriend's lap at one point, and one of the other models came back, and like, she was like, is she okay? And he's like, she's fine. She's just having. I'm just like, people, oh God. Like, yeah. So I totally understand. It's like, yeah. Even like just being at the event is a lot for me. So like, I'm always like hella appreciative of like, to me, it blows me away. It's like how they even get up there and do that. Cause I was practically in tears at my last show. I was just like, I'm breaking out right now. Oh my God. It's just like really spazzing. So it's like, it's not the girls that do it and like do it well. And the men always get up there and they're just such hams.
Yeah.
I've never seen like a nervous male model. Like they're wearing like the least amount of clothing. I think I made them like underwear and like harnesses, and we like body painted them because it was like horror themed. So like one of them was Prince was the Phantom, and then Josh was Jigsaw. And I just the whole time I remember being like, I wish we could have gotten him a tricycle, but he's huge. Yeah. So and then I always end up hiring a bunch of short girls. Yeah, because they never get to do runway, and they're always like, let me do runway, and I'm like, you get up here and do runway.
Yeah,
because I'm only 5'6". I don't get to do it either.
Shoot, I'm only 5'1".
Right, but I'm just like, Elysium has a low ceiling anyway. And most of these places, I'm like, this is alt fashion. We're doing what we want out here, so if you're cool, you're in. Like it's pretty much that easy. So
yeah, those shoes, man. I love them, and like thank you so much for them, but like walking in them and then across the stage, mind you, in front of an audience, oh my god,
and then stage at Elysium has the it's not smooth.
Yeah,
because it's like, remember I had to walk too, and I was like, because one of the models dropped out, and like for the music we had to have another person. I was like, all right, well, I'm going out there barefoot or else I'm going to die, because I know the stage has like seams and like nails in it and shit. And I was just like,
didn't you do something with blood?
I did. Yeah. My best friend Brandy was Pennywise.
That's right.
Her and her man do a bunch of work for the Woodlawn Theater in San Antonio. And she was in my first show, and then she was in my second show. And I was just like, will you like help me kind of do it? Like I had an idea to do Pennywise, and it was a lot of times if I do a show for someone, I will ask the event coordinator, do you have a request? Something you would like to see, because it's just like, it usually gives me a jumping point, because I'll like stare at a blank page and be like, what in the fuck am I doing? So his request was Pennywise. I was like, I'm gonna do Pennywise, that would be dope. And they had just put out that movie, and oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on what his name is now. What is his name? Bill Scar, the one that plays Pennywise.
Oh, I don't know.
Bill.
I have no idea.
Bill. Scarred guard. Some from the ceiling. Whatever. Bill. She has like a very similar, like, cute little turned up nose, and like, and I was just like, I get Brandy to be Pennywise, and it's just like, she does very theater, and like I did theater when I was little, but I was like something a little extra that's like different from a regular runway show, because those can be a little trite at times. And it was like horror themed. It's a horror themed like vampire carnival. So yeah, fake that, like, we actually sacrificed that costume. It got covered in fake blood because it wasn't like that like heavy, that like really good movie grade water soluble. She like made the blood for me. So I was like, just trash it. Let's do it. So yeah, she brought me like a white dress, and we were both like covered in like fake blood.
Did you guys do something on stage, like perform an act with the blood, or did you just...
So I like walked first, and then like we went on side stage, and her boyfriend Ben is like, it's the first time I had ever met him. He was so sweet, and he had never done anything like this before. Like, and he's just like dousing me in like fake blood, and he's just like splattering it on me and stuff. And I actually had my boyfriend and one of the models' boyfriends lead me through the crowd up through the center, and the model actually pulled me up on stage with her because I opened the show with a red balloon. So I was like her victim. Yeah, it was like moss cheese, but it was really fun. And everybody really liked it. And it was really like fun to make. I got to like buy big red pom-poms and like sew them onto a corset. I was like, this is cool. Like, and I did like a Victorian style corset and like the neck ruff and like all that jazz, and like she did all the wig styling for me, so of course the wig was beautiful. She's amazing. But yeah, so that show is, I'm going to do some really like fun stuff with like a lot of really cool people. So I've been really lucky.
Yeah,
like really lucky. So,
and you said your third one was in New Orleans?
Yes, my third one was in New Orleans, and it was actually such like an undertaking for me. I'm not doing any this year. So I think I'm going to focus more on kind of like more stylized like photo shoots that I have a little bit more control over.
Oh, wasn't like there blood on one of your...
Yeah, and I've had to be a little like, and there was an incident with a performer, and it was all just like a big mix-up, and luckily this performer uses the real deal movie grade blood, and all I did was wash it.
Oh, good.
But it was like, I let models continue to run around in my stuff, and I knew there was going to be risk involved, but like I was already back at the house and in bed, because after partying all weekend after the show, I was like, oh, I want to go to sleep. So because we raged on bourbon all weekend, I've never been. I was like, I'm so fucked up, just like, oh my God. So, but yeah, there was fake blood on it, and it's just like, it was, I put a lot into it. Like I put a lot into the show. Like I made jackets, I made 18th century stays, there were neck corsets. I actually made like 3 men's like 18th century blouses, like,
oh yeah, the ruffly ones.
And yeah, the ruffly ones, and I made the court coats with all the trim, and it's like you have to do a lot of that by hand.
How long does it take you to prepare for a show? Like how many pieces? Because you had quite a lot.
So basically, I typically will take a month to like plan. I say plan because you'll buy stuff, and then you'll have something else that kind of inspires you, or you'll have a model swap, or you'll just encounter something new, or like start watching a new TV show, or like see something, or like a color palette, and you start changing stuff.
Yeah.
And it's my show. I change whatever I want, but it's like when you have a makeup artist, like people that are helping you, it's like at a certain point they're like, can you stop, please? So it's like Brandy and I are pretty close, and she has no problem telling me to like shut it down.
Shut it down.
So I actually got asked to do New Orleans the night of Carnival. So that was in May. New Orleans was at the end of October. It took me the entire time.
Wow.
So, and the other thing you have to remember too is like I was doing that, I was sewing orders, and I was still working full time.
Whoa.
And still taking care of the twins. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and like mind you, so much help with my kids, but it's like, you know, that's still, it's leads up time, and like I love them. I'm like fuck my phone. Like I'm gonna go hang out with these toddlers. Like they're going on a space adventure. I'm going in there. Like
yeah.
So some of that stuff, like, but yeah, it takes a long time, and I still think. And it was just like, if I'm going to do our New Orleans and I'm going to have all these people travel, you know, some people traveled 10 hours, like by car. I drove by myself because I did shoes for that show too. So I had to take all these shoes. And the last thing I want is an airline to like lose all my costumes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of the models ended up driving. Some of them flew. But yeah, if it was going to be like that, I was like, I'm not going to wimp out on this. And I think the weekend that I got asked to do it, we had just started watching Versailles. And I don't watch a lot of TV. I live under a happy rock with my sewing machine and my fabric swatches and like YouTube videos. And I'm like, it sounds really bad. I'm really like studious about sewing. Like I'll read a ton of blogs and like that's my, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of TV. So it's like I was visiting my boyfriend at the time and he put on this show. He's like, I really think you'll like it. You'll like, visually, you'll like it. And I was like, I want to make some of that stuff. It was just so like gaudy and like lace. So that's, you just find inspiration that way. And it's like, I'm very drawn to things that are Victorian. And I'm not so keen on Edwardian stuff, but like Victorian, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, Penny Dreadful, like those types of silhouettes where it's like the tiny, tiny waist and the big rump in the back, like that kind of stuff, and like the sleeves and high necklines. And one of the things I noticed I was struggling with was details, because 18th century, especially court wear for the French, very, very detail oriented. They weren't modest with their clothing whatsoever. So I was struggling with like all those little details, and there's only like extant garments, like existing garments that are like photographed, and it's not like, you know, they only had so much like color back then, if that makes sense. And I ended up coming across these, I'm probably going to butcher his name, but Sakizo illustrations. They're these very beautiful, like super ornate illustrations of these like, men and women. They're in these very like ornate clothing, like Queen of Hearts and like different like witches, but everything is like super, super detailed. So they were really inspirational for me to look at, like, you know, like sleeves that were striped and like trim and like that kind of stuff. So like looking at other art is like helpful to be like kind of like take some little bit of that like in the areas that I struggle, like details. Like I can knock out a silhouette, I can draft anything, but I get bogged down in the details because I don't trust myself a lot yet with the details. It's like, how much is too much? You know, it's like, I want to make a wedding gown this year. Where do you stop with a wedding gown? Because I'm like, can I put an Elizabethan stand collar on it? Like what kind of... Surely there's a bride out there that would love that. So it's like stuff like that. I don't always know when to stop. Or I don't always know like when to take it like just that little bit further. And that's just something that'll come with time for me.
Yeah.
So
I do like your strappy pieces. Like the bondage inspired.
So a lot of that comes from, I can't like just go buy that stuff. I'm just one of those people that's soft. Even if I'm like working out and running, like I just still have that little like layer of like,
I got pudge. Yeah.
I like tacos and Mexican Cokes and eating and like pizza at like 11 o'clock at night. And, like I'm just a real person, and I try doing that, like count your macros, go to the gym, like really, and I'm just like, that is not a sustainable lifestyle for me. So for me, it's like all the strappy stuff that you see is adjustable. And that's another thing too. It's like there's nothing more discouraging about your own existence if you gain like some water weight, or if you gain like a couple pounds and your really nice lingerie that you have doesn't fit. Especially like it's for anybody, even if you aren't a model.
Yeah.
Like that's still discouraging, you know? So it's like by adding in those extra pieces of hardware and like making them adjustable, it's like if you buy this when you're, you know, a size 8 and you drop down to a 4, or like vice versa or whatever, like any size, like fluctuation. It's pretty normal.
Yeah.
For humans to have weight fluctuation. You know, if you kill a bag of chips, you're probably going to weigh a little bit different tomorrow. It's just kind of the reality of it for anyone. And so having that like strappy, like adjustability, it's like it enabled me to actually be able to wear stuff like that. And I'm like, this is hot. I feel good. Like this is really, you know, and at the time, like not to get super personal, but I was like being exposed to like kink and like BDSM, shibari, kimbaku, like rope bondage. And it was just like, I got tied into like a body harness and it had a strap that went like, there was rope that went under my ass. And I was just like, I look hot. Like that's fire. Like, oh my God. So like some of the designs will have like that extra little strap that goes on there. And it's just like, it gives you like a really like, I don't know, it just makes you feel good. And like to me, that's like kind of the point. Like I make stuff that's like, I have a set that I call the Shane set. It's like my very like tomboy set. It's a gray cotton jersey. It has red trims. So you get that pop of color, the red straps and stuff. And it's just like, it's soft, it's comfortable, it's basic, it's flattering. You wear it every day, under jeans, under whatever, wear it to work. It just feels nice and it fits well. And the neckline on it's flattering and you know, all the stuff's customizable. So for you, it's like if you don't like this particular panty style, it's like you can get it made exactly how you want. So it's like, you know, you get that like simplicity and it's like very flattering to where I have things that are just like, I get girls that will message me and be like, can you walk me through putting this on? And I'm like, yes. Because for me, I made it, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I've had to be more mindful of that. And I did just release a set. It looks insane from the front. It has like a whole like pseudo pentagram on the chest. It has these extra like bottom pieces and stuff, but it's just like the back is a single hook and eye. It's like 2-row back there. It looks just like a regular bra on the back, and it has a bottom thing that just wraps, the straps just wrap around, and it has a little swan hook in the front, and that's it. Because when I first started doing strappy stuff, you know, it's like I can make anything on my dress form. I can make insane things, but can you actually put it on?
Yeah.
Was like the trick. And I got a lot of feedback about it, and it's just something I've tried to be mindful of. And it's just like people see it and they're like, that looks like a puzzle I'll never get into. And so you just kind of have to like, and that just comes with, I've been doing this for 3 years now, so that just comes with like adapting your business a little bit, especially because you don't really know when you start making like strappy bondage lingerie like how you're supposed to be making it until you like start to get the feedback like from people. Like, is this actually something, you know? And not everybody lives with someone, so it's like I put all my hardware to the front, so all the adjustable pieces, all the slides are in the front.
That's good.
So you can adjust it yourself. You don't have to like call your girlfriend over or whoever, or like hope that someone's home or have that awkward conversation with your mom or something. So I move all that stuff in the front, and I'm just kind of like neurotic about details like that. So like that's the kind of stuff I focus on, which sometimes gets in the way of other things. But I'm just like, it's just a learning curve. I'm working on it. Yeah.
So are you like nonstop sewing? Like
right now I am. Holy shit. So I do a big sale for Black Friday. And it's like a lot of companies are like, we don't do a big sale for Black Friday. Like a lot of indie brands. I respect that. That's fine. I charge you a fair price all year. I do little sales here and there. Black Friday, I do a big sale because a lot of my customers work really, really hard. A lot of them are models. A lot of them are sex workers. A lot of them are like people that just, they work really hard for their money. And it's just kind of like, these people have helped me build this business from $50 and some donut fabric. So it's kind of my way of like saying thank you, I guess. And just, I'm sewing my face off right now. I feel so bad. I've sent out so many messages. They're like, I'm sorry. Like it's coming. I swear I wasn't ready for the amount of orders that came in. I was like, so the first year I did it, I think it was like 5. And I was stoked at that. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then the next year it was more. And it was it wasn't so much with a full-time job, but it's like, I'm sewing this stuff full-time. And mind you, I've moved and there was Christmas and I'm not skipping Christmas. Like I took a week off. I'm sorry. You know, and I took a couple of days off for Thanksgiving, but it's like, and then I moved in between, but it's so many orders and like so many repeat customers and I'm just like, so like, and they're so nice and I'm going to cry. Oh my God. Like, I'm just like, so like, just like how kind and like understanding and like how much patience they have with me, and they're like, so many of them are so supportive, and they're like, you know, like, you've been growing, and it's like, you know, we expect it, your stuff is wonderful, and da-da-da, and I'm just like, oh God, okay. Like, I feel like I suck right now. Like, before we came, I was like, I'm like cutting panties out. I'm like, I'm a fucking failure and we're not going out tonight, and like just freaking out. And so it's like, it just makes me feel really humbled. And just like, I just want to make better badass shit for these really amazing people. Like, and if you order from me and you think that I don't remember you, I do. Like, I actually have a notebook, and I keep, it's very creeper, but I keep very like detailed notes and stuff, and I try to pay attention to like who has kids and when they order. That's and good. You know, I actually I had a customer, and she was like, she's like, I don't think you remember me, but of course I did. And she had placed an order and like for like just a couple pairs of panties, and that's like just a couple hours worth of work. And she was like, I'm gonna be going into the hospital like for a surgery, and I know it's not within your usual timeline, but like I would really like to have these for my recovery. And I was like, like everything else I needed to do that day, I was like, I'm making these panties today. Because I do remember all these people, because it's like, I kind of thought I would stop as it grew in the amount of people, but it's like, I guess that's one of my special skills. I guess. That's
I just good though.
Write it down and like take notes, and like, I just try to like, I worked in retail and customer service for years, and it's like, I really try to take care of everyone like the best that I can. Like, if I send you out something and you hate it, I technically have like a no return policy, but if it's just like you hate it, send it back. I don't want you to keep anything with my name on it that you hate or that you're not happy with. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a business and I need to make money because bills are real. But it's like, I still have that like, that little artist thing like deep down where it's like, God, if you hate my work, then I don't want you to have it. Send it back. We'll figure something out. I'll make you something different. And it's like, I don't know. I try. I'm also a big softie too. So I'm just like, I've had to like learn how to say no and be a little like stand up for myself a little bit. But like for the most part, I'm just like a big teddy bear when it comes to my customers. I'm like, I love you guys so much. Like all my Instagram posts, I'm like, I love you, and like I mean it. I'm just like, I'm sure they think I'm like the cheesiest person ever, but I'm like, no, I'm like that. I'm sorry. So, yes, I know I'm pitiful.
No, how many orders do you get on average now? Like a month?
Oh God. Should have taken some notes. Okay, so with anything, you have your slow periods and you have your, so like my work time is supposed to be 4 to 6 weeks. I'm a little backed up right now, so it's really more like 8 to 10, sorry, but it, so usually 4 to 6 weeks. So like I don't get a big boom right before Christmas, and I don't get like a big hit at Valentine's Day unless I do like ready to ship pieces, because it's like you have to plan so far out. So it's like, if people are planning to get stuff for Valentine's Day, they have to order in January. And yeah, so like, it kind of varies, but like in this last week, I've gotten like, I think 3 in the past couple days. Like
that's really good.
Like I'm not, so like I have my storage is an Etsy store. So I have the app. I don't know if you know anyone that has an Etsy store. Every time you get an order, it goes cha-ching.
Oh, really? Oh, cute.
It is like the most uplifting thing ever, but like, it's like, I've had my phone not on silent, and I have some international customers that's like when I'm asleep, they're awake and they're shopping. And I've had that thing like go off in the middle of the night and scare the crap out of me. And I'm like, oh my God, that's great. I'll check that in the morning. I'm going back to bed. You like throw it across the room like, oh.
Were you sleepwalking though?
Right? Making panties like asleep. Yeah, So it's like this past week I've gotten through, honestly it fluctuates and it varies, and then it's like I'll get custom orders and those typically like take up like some time. I do have a really like wonderful client who's like such a blessing, and like when he puts an order in, it's like the most overwhelming thing ever. I have to get like a piece of paper, and like he has my phone number and he just texts me. I love him to death. Like he's so wonderful. Like he's definitely like a client that's become like a friend. And I have to get a piece of paper and a pen and write all the stuff down and like take like all these like super articulate notes because it'll be like 8 pieces.
Wow.
I'm just like whoo, or like 8 sets, and I'm like okay.
How long does it take to complete one set?
It really varies, and usually I ask people, I'm like, so am I distracted or am I like not? Like on a chill day of like just sewing, like starting and stopping for coffee, I don't know, I can knock out a set in about an hour and a half.
Really? Damn.
If it's already patterned.
Yeah.
Because I have like these, I need to figure out a better pattern storing system. They're all in manila envelopes and they just have like what is on them. So if you want like a triangle bralette or like the scoop front order, I just go dump that out and I go and I pick through the sizes and I know what's in there and I know what's not. And everything that I do is like custom size. Like you send me the measurements, then I make it. There's very rarely anything just like sitting around for you to buy. I'll do a sample sale sometimes, but everything's made to order. So I don't always have like a 30G pattern pieces just laying around. But if I have to pattern it and like make the pattern, that will take me a little bit more time. That'll bump me in about like 2 hours, depending. So, but yeah, usually about that. If I just sit down and really do it, but like I have to be careful like what kind of music I play and like what time of day it is and like
what kind of music do you typically
like? Right now, I've been listening just to a lot of like goth synth stuff, like Perturbator, and like my boyfriend just introduced me to I'm gonna butcher this name, but Gustaffelstein. I'm so cool and hip. I don't know. I just like you put it on and I was like, oh my god, like yes. So mostly stuff that doesn't have words, and I definitely can't listen to anything I can really twerk to because that's dangerous. Because then I'm just dancing in the house. Yeah. Like I work in the house by myself in my sweatpants. Like my sweatpants are my work pants. I look crazy. This is dolled up for me right now because usually my hair's in a clip. I have no makeup on, or I have one eyebrow still darkened. Like I just look a mess. And I'll just be like dancing and singing like around the house. Like it's not, that's not how you get anything done. And then I'm right by the kitchen right now where I work. So I'm just like snacks. Yeah. So I have to play music with little to no words. And like Perturbator is all very like, you're in a cyberpunk video game. Like it's very like arcade noises.
Okay.
Like goth edition. So yeah. They're actually coming to play, or he is coming to play in Austin. I'm really excited because I'm going to a concert in like 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a hermit. Yeah, most people don't realize that, but I like house and I like bed.
So is that all that you do outside of sewing? But you paint.
I do paint. Yeah, I actually have a BFA. Like when I went to school, I got a degree in ceramics.
Oh, wow.
And when I first moved to Austin, I used to do production pottery. Like in 2011, I moved to Austin with like my stuff and like $300. I was so broke. And I did production pottery like for a while. And I worked for this like really small company. And like basically all I did was like make plates. Made a lot of yellow plates.
Why yellow?
I don't know. That was just what was on the paper that I was supposed to make. So like a lot of yellow plates. And it's like, then I got a different job and started doing like art consulting and stuff like that. But it's just like I've been painting and drawing since I was like small, and I've been sewing since I was small. I was like the kid that like sat with like the, like when you get information from a college and they send you those books. Oh, like the books. Like I was young and I got my mom to like get me one from Parsons, which is like the design school in New York City. Like they do freaking the workroom for Project Runways at Parsons. Like it's like the big dick design school for like fashion and illustration and like that kind of stuff. And like I always wanted to be a fashion designer. That's always what I wanted to do. And my parents were always like, just go to normal college. So I did, and I got an art degree. Hey. So But yeah, it's just always kind of been something that I've wanted to do. I've always wanted to do like costuming and like that kind of stuff and do like gowns, and like I've had sketchbooks and they're really embarrassing, full of just like fashion designs. But yeah, it's like everything's very like disproportionate and like stuff like that. And I'm still not the best like fashion design doodler ever. Like when I send someone a sketch, it's not always like, I'm like, okay, so the squiggles are lace, like that's not bush, like it's just, you know, like I try to color it a little bit, but I'm just super apologetic. But most of the time people are like, you're okay, like just keep going. Because like when it comes to painting, I'm not very like graphic. I'm totally like expressive, like a lot of color, you know, yeah. Just really like.
Didn't you have like a painting stolen from your car? I thought I saw a post.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What painting was that?
It was like it was just like some figurative work that I had like done like in my personal time, and then like all of my printmaking from college.
Aww.
And stuff. So
and
yeah.
Nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Like did they like smash open your windows?
No, the door got left unlocked.
Oh,
well, I was moving. Yeah, it was when I was moving, so the door got left unlocked, and I was just like,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like sad panda, because it's like, yeah, printmaking was really hard in college. Yeah. I really valued those, so I mean, it is what it is, but yeah.
Didn't you submit a painting? I thought I saw one of your paintings at Art Erotica.
Yeah.
Right? The girl with in the ropes.
Yeah, it was like a really small, like kind of. I hadn't painted in years, and I just like someone was like, "You should painting and donate it," and I was like, "Okay."
Did it auction?
I honestly don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. So Art Erotica is like I have certain days that I don't work. One of them is my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday is on 4/20. It's like there's all these like events and stuff like that. Like, you know, like Her Sins does like this whole cool like prohibition event and like that kind of stuff. And I never go, and like Art Erotica is usually like around that time, or it's around like Houston Rodeo, and it's like my parents help me so much, and it's like they get season tickets to Houston Rodeo, and if Mama wants to go see Garth Brooks or George Strait, like she's going. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna be there. Like I'm gonna do what I need to do. I'm gonna take care of my kids because they watch my kids all the time. So usually around there, like when Art Erotica usually is, I can't like be in another city. I have to be like with my family or whatever, so I usually just send something and just hope someone takes it home with them. So I'm like, they didn't call me to like come get it. So I don't know what that means.
Oh, it may just carry over to the next show, because that's typically what happens.
Hopefully it's in someone's house, because it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was pretty big too.
It was a decent size. She was a cutie.
Yeah.
It was like a full body too, and I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, I suck at like full body stuff, which is why fashion illustration is laughable for me, because I'm really good with like portrait work and like faces and stuff. I can't draw men for shit, but I'm really good at like these more like feminine features.
Well, it's easy to do curves.
Yeah, it's more, for me, it's like it's more fun.
Yeah.
Like men are so, I mean, I can put a cat eye on a man, I guess, and put him in rope, but it's just like, I don't know, it just doesn't, I don't know, I've tried. I just don't think it's like because you know, like some artists are like brilliant at
You're
like
brilliant.
the male figure, and I'm just like, let me just make the hair long and just call it here's some like, we'll just plump like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, this is not my. But I feel like all artists kind of feel that way, like no matter what kind of medium like they take on, it's like they have areas of opportunity. So, and I feel like everybody feels that way. So it's like for me, like more masculine features and like stereotypical like male looks are, I love photographing men. Women you have to have like a little bit softer touch with, but like men you can really just like get in there and like throw some high contrast on it. Especially when I learned 35 millimeter, it was so much easier to print it, and like you had so much more room for error than if you were photographing a woman. And if you like broadlit her from the front, like she was gonna hate you. So it's just, yeah, men are easier to photograph, and I prefer to photograph men. But when it comes to like actually drawing, painting, like fine art type stuff, it's more on the feminine side.
Do you still shoot?
I haven't, just because I was living in Houston and like working full time and stuff, I would like to start shooting like again. I really like doing like black and white portraits and stuff like that. And I got like a little like crash course in retouching in Photoshop. I didn't want to do that like right in the mic. That was going to be serious. From this really wonderful photographer. His name's Andy Silvers. If you've never looked at his work, do it. His older, it's so cool. He does all this like composite stuff. He like super like well, like high edited photos, like very retouched, but very well done. And he kind of gave me like a crash course, and I got to go to Virginia and shoot with him, and like that was a really cool experience for me because I like got to take my own designs. And when I was a model, I wanted to shoot with him so bad. He was like the coolest photographer ever, and he taught me some stuff, and I have such an appreciation for photo retouching now because that shit is tedious as fuck. So I can do some of that, and I do a little bit of that when I do like black and white work and stuff like that, but it's just like, and I've kind of played around with like erotic POV, but from like a submissive perspective, because like in my personal life, that's my role, really. I do have a little bit of like a dominant side, but I haven't got to like explore that like as much. So I got to play around with that like a little bit, and so like those turned out really cool. I got to Photoshop my own thighs, buff those out. That was great. It's like, I don't even like that mole. We're just gonna get rid of that. Like, bye. So yeah, I do a lot of like artistic stuff, and it's like for me, I recently started painting again, and I bought a bunch of watercolor pens, markers, because I needed a creative outlet that was low pressure, because what I do now is a business.
Yeah.
And it's work, and it's like sometimes I have started turning down certain projects, certain things I don't want to do, certain things I'm not super interested in doing. But it's like even now sometimes I'm like, I don't want to make 12 of these today. I want to go make a freaking Italian Renaissance gown and like something fun with a but it's just like, so I need something that's like low pressure and like I can do whatever I want. If I just want to draw cupcakes all day, I can just draw cupcakes all day. So I have to have some like low pressure creative outlet. So I've been trying to get back into painting, and I bought the watercolor markers. So that's been nice to kind of like dabble with and do. And I figured I could like incorporate that into like my like client sketches. Right? Practice some of that stuff because I need to. I'm like, that one leg is way longer than the other. Just ignore that. She doesn't have feet or hands. Just ignore that. Don't just focus on the middle part where the panties are, okay? So yeah, I practice on that a little bit because it's always just learning and growing. It's great.
Do you model still sometimes?
I do. Actually. I've actually modeled a little bit in like the past couple years. I actually did my first like nude shoot after I started my business. That was jazzy. I got naked in a parking garage. That was fun.
Nice. Wait, did I see that one?
I think so. That I'm like butt naked in a parking garage, and it's like the wall is like very teal looking.
Yeah, I think I have. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
You should model more.
I want to. I got to shoot with Jenna Avery. She set up like a home studio, and I got to go over there, and I usually like, I don't typically model my own stuff. I just have some body image issues, and it's like, there are other people that can do that job really, really well, and that's what they do. It's like, I make the panties, they wear it, they look bomb as fuck in it, they feel bomb as fuck in it, like, let them do their job. So for me, I get to do it like a little bit. So I rarely get to like wear any of this really like pretty shit that I make. And the last show I did, there were actually some pieces in there that like fit me. I'm kind of like an awkward. It's not that I don't make stuff for like larger girls, because I try to do all different sizes for my show and stuff like that. I'm just a very specific size, and I have a very like giraffe torso thing going on, and I'm just kind of like, I have broad shoulders and a small waist, but I don't have hips. It's like all my hips are in my ass, and then my thighs are like the size of everyone's head. So I'm just awkwardly, I'm athletically built. I'm like, whatever you want to call it, I'm built like a fucking weirdo, like whatever.
You're not.
And so I got to model some pieces, and I actually like modeled like a black gown, and I told my mom, I was like, I'm gonna wear clothes. I'm gonna be covered, because like the other shoots I usually do, I'm like half naked, or which you got to do that too, because that's liberating. Naked's easier than clothes. Naked is so much easier than clothes, because
really
like it's so much easier. Because like you don't even have to really bring anything to the shoot. A little body oil or something. And then you're just like, yeah. And then you only have to be aware of yourself. You don't have to be aware of like a garment or like clothing or how something's laying, or did this flip out, or is this strap twisted, or like whatever. You're just naked.
But then you have to like, for me, it's so scary because it's like, I have to make sure I don't have the right, or the creases hanging out, and
I call them my gills. Like when you arch like super far, because like I can like fold myself in half, but it's not always cute looking, and I get like my gills and stuff. And I know when I did this last shoot, I was just like, look, like I'm almost 30. I like food. I haven't worked out in like months, like 3 months. Like I haven't been to the gym or like run or anything, and I'm just like, you don't, just a light buffing is appropriate. Like you're doing like portrait photography and stuff. You're not doing like still lifes and like real life stuff. So it's like a little retouch, a little editing is more than appropriate, because most people are like, oh yeah, it'd be great if you didn't like immortalize my dark circles or that zit that I got that morning, because that totally happened to me. I was like, what is that? That's what Photoshop's for. So, and I know I got those photos back, and I was like, I got to wear some of like the costumey ones. I got to wear like the big collar, like the big stand, like gothic collar. And I remember I made this neck corset for the show, and I put it on, I wore it, and I was like trying to like model in it and like move. And it was like the most constrictive thing I'd ever worn. And I was just like, I texted the model from the show, and I was like, I am so sorry I put you in that, because that is like, I was like, I'm surprised you could move in that thing. Like, I'm sorry. And it had like a little piece of lace, and it was like kind of itchy, and I was like, you can tell me that shit. Aww. Like, I'll take care of it. So yeah, I went home and actually like fixed it, like took it out. It's like, that's miserable. Nobody else should have to deal with that. Aww. So yeah, I would like to model a little bit more. Actually, like, have thrown my name in for like a few things. Like, I just don't have like an existing like working like portfolio, so I don't really like feel comfortable like throwing myself out there to do it, if that makes sense.
Not really.
Okay, maybe
because I want to shoot you.
Maybe it's just because I'm making excuses to not do it. How about that? Called out. All right. So yeah, usually it's like, I don't know. I'll have a little bit, like, once I get caught up in sewing and kind of get a little bit more settled, like, I'll be a little bit more like caught up like on time and stuff. And I don't know, like, one of the things for me is like I do get a little like when people are like, oh my god, I want to shoot you because you're a redhead, and I'm just like, is that all I'm worth to you? They're like, well, your designs are really pretty too, and I'm like, well, I'm not bringing any, and I'm bringing a black wig. Just being like all offended, like, ah. So yeah, some people are really creepy about it. They're like, oh my god, you're a redhead. And I'm like, whoa, this got heavy. Like, what is going on?
Is that your natural red, or do you kind of enhance it?
So I definitely like give it a little oomph. But this is like, I've had it, and once you start coloring your hair, you don't get to stop unless you just shave it all off, or unless you're just okay with looking like a calico cat for like a year. So, I had it like, right after I had kids, I like had it purple. I had like purple hair. I was a brunette for like a month, but I'm usually some sort of shade of red. I was like really, really copper before kids, and then it's like after kids, that's not like, when am I going to touch on my roots? Like in the middle of the night? No way. Like I'll just be like half asleep with a bowl of hair color all over the bathroom, and it's like, going to the salon stresses me out. I don't enjoy it. It's not relaxing to me.
Yeah.
I literally learned how to do my own acrylics at home because I just sit there and freak out about all the other shit I'm supposed to be doing and like getting done and that I have to do later and like all that crap, and it's just like, the only thing I enjoy like going to get is a massage, because that will just like black me out.
Doesn't Jake's massage?
Yes, and that's like,
My man.
It's nice. It's
or
so
her man.
It's innocent. Right? If you just ask, he'll let you pet him. He doesn't care. If you want to pet it, he'll pet you. Be like, well, you just. I've literally had people like, I'll be like, oh, this is my boyfriend. This is Jake, and it's like, we were long distance for so long. So it's like a lot of people got to hear about him, but they never got to meet him. And for him, it's like kind of the same thing. So it's like we've been together for 3 years, and like I'm just now meeting like a lot of like his friends, and it's like, so he would come, and he was like, he came to my job, and he was like coming to visit, and one of my coworkers was like, oh my god, will you rub my shoulders? And I was like, really? Okay. And Jay was like, oh sure, that's fine. Like, he's just so like, I take him everywhere. I take him to all of my shows. Like, he's just so like, he comes to all the shoots. Like, I refer to him as like my hospitality specialist, because it's like, I'll be like, so I'm gonna have like 12 models coming over and a makeup artist. Can you make like a taco bar? And he's like, yes. What are the dietary restrictions? And then like he does it. It's like my first shoot was at 6 a.m. and he made everyone like a freaking like brunch. Oh. He made like eggs Benedicts, and like it was insane. I was just like, this is great. So yeah, if you come shoot for me, you're probably gonna get some food. I try to feed everyone.
That's what I do too. I can't cook, but I'll order pizza. I know how to dial.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just like you never realize like how long those types of things are gonna take.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, the next thing you know is like, you've been there for 6 hours. You guys are best friends, and like you're going to someone's wedding. You know what I mean? So like you just spend so much time together. Like at shoots and like that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's like,
so like, other than you being a one person show, is he like assist you in any of the sewing?
Actually, so we kind of have this phrase in my house. It's like, it's such like a West Texas like thing to say, but it's like, everybody works. So it's like, you come for a family dinner, you're going to be like, especially like Christmas, like you're going to peel potatoes, you're going to peel some eggs, you're going to do this, you're going to make that, you're going to help mom make bread, you're going to roll out a pie crust, like you're going to clean, you're going to do that, you're going to put on the table, like it's just like everybody has to do something. And I was like, so we just recently started living together, right? And like he's just so cute, and I'm just like, I finally get to live with him, and like, because it's just like just to be honest, it's like 3 years of only having sex like 36 hours once a month, and I'm just like, hi, but like I have to get all this stuff done. So he was like being distracting, and I get lonely because he's like on the computer, but he's like on the other side of the kitchen behind a wall, and I can't see him, and I'm like in the breakfast nook, like working, and I'm like, do you want to help me? So I actually taught him how to use the overlocker. And he's these big, like, sausage finger, like, man hands. And I have these very, like, short, like, dainty, like, little carny hands. And so he's, like, dealing with, like, mesh and, like, really fine lace and stuff like that. And he's, like, trying to make these, like, because, it's, like, the breasts have, like, a curve. And it's, like, you kind of have to ease the seams in together. They don't just, like, flop together like two triangles. Like, whatever. That's not how boobs work. So he's like having to like pen them, and it's just like, the struggle, and I'm like, what are we? But like, like lace back panties, and they have the scallop edge, and they have that center seam on the back. He's got that. I've never seen someone so tediously match lace before with pens. Like, he's just like, because he's like, I want to make it perfect, I don't want to set you back, like da-da-da-da-da. But yeah, I taught him how to use the overlocker, and I won't even use pens at this point. Like, you get used to it, and you get a little cocky, and like, I've had moments where that has come back to bite me in the ass, and I've had to recut, and it is what it is. But he's like sewing, and like, you have the pedal, and he's just like, like, he just started, and he would stop, and he would start, and he would stop, and I'm over there like giving these like side backhanded like instructions, like, don't surge over the pins, and like, don't do this and don't do that. So he's just like, oh my god. So I finally taught him how to do a few things. He cuts my elastics for me when I need help. I'll be like, I need like 2 8-inch pieces of this, or like whatever, and blah blah. I'll give him a list, and he'll like cut and torch stuff for me. So because you have to like burn the edge of the elastic, or it just like frays everywhere. So I've taught him how to do that. But he does, like, the boring crap I don't like doing, like dealing with the accountant. Because it's like, at a certain point, you can only dodge paying taxes for so long. And it's like, if you don't pay taxes, props to you. I'm just, like, one of those, like, terrified people that it's like, ooh, like, one side of my family is like nothing but accountants. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pay taxes and just do it because we probably operate at a loss anyway. It's fine. It's fine. I'm really good at spending the money. So he does that stuff for me. He deals with the accountant. He sets with that stuff kind of up. He actually, so when we started dating, I was in the middle of getting a divorce. And I wanted to set up this wholesale account with a supplier in Canada. And they don't, basically it's like, if you don't pay taxes and you're not like a real business, Canadians are real like strict on like certain stuff. Like, I've kind of noticed in like shipping like from there, like different suppliers that I've dealt with from there, they're very like structured in certain things they do. But basically they wouldn't give me a wholesale account no matter how much I was going to order without like a tax ID. And at the time I was in the middle of a divorce and I was like, I don't want to put my name, like my business is my baby and my ex-husband's a dick, so like I didn't want to risk like losing any part of my business, anything. It's not like I had much to lose. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to argue about it, whatever. So he actually like put the company initially in his name. He LLC'd the company in his name for me, like paid for it, like the whole thing, registered it. So I could get my wholesale account, so I could get like these, it's like the one place I can get these like fancy magnetic closures. And if you don't have a wholesale account, you're not going to order like a whole bag. They're like $6 a piece.
Wow.
Have you ever seen those burlesque costumes that have those like magnetic, like the magnetic clasps? So they're like, if you go and look, they look like these little rectangles. And they're just magnetic. And like literally you can just pop it off.
Are they like strong magnetic so it actually stays?
Oh yeah, it'll stay until you like force it. But it's like on stage, you can do it just with a thumb pop. Like, yeah, I put one on a train for a performer. She's performing tonight. And I was just like, you can literally just slide your thumb in there and just, if you give it a little bit of force and just like, it'll just... It's crazy.
Do you use that on your pieces?
I do. They're a little pricey. If I started, I would like to. They're a little hard to get a hold of, but I like having them around for my burlesque girls and some of my girls that do like clips for sale and stuff like that. And they do kind of like the more like costumey customs, like, and that kind of thing. So it just makes it easier for them because if you're performing or in any kind of capacity, you don't really want to struggle when getting it off. So I buy those and just keep them on hand for like stuff like that. I try to keep my pieces within a certain price point that I'm comfortable with and that I feel like fits my brand. Like, custom orders can get crazy.
I'm sure. For
that kind of stuff, if you got the money, I've got the time. But it's like stuff that we just list in the shop and then I just keep listed in the Etsy store. I try to keep it within like certain parameters that's like, yeah, it's a little bit more pricey than like, you know, going to like Penny's or like where or like Target, like, you know, God bless their seamless underwear, but like it's still like within a comfortable range that like most people feel like if they wanted to get like a little something for themselves or if they were like a lingerie enthusiast, it's still like within a comfortable like price point.
I think it's really good. I mean, how you price it, because for just you, my God, I'd be charging.
I've actually
literally.
I've actually bumped some stuff, and I've had to like make some adjustments because it's kind of like I've been doing this for 3 years now, and it's kind of I've learned that like certain stuff does take me more time. My time is valuable, but it's like also cost of supplies.
Yeah,
like the cost of stretch silk. I have this one supplier I love for stretch silk. It's my favorite. It's beautiful. It comes in every color anyone could ever want. It's consistent. The dye lots are consistent, because that's another thing. If you don't order a lot of fabric, white is not white. Black is not always black and black and black. And like reds, oh my God, there's like, it'll just say red and it's like completely different than the other thing that you ordered. So I get really attached to my suppliers, and it's like the cost of stretch silk is like fluctuated like $4. Yeah, luckily they put it on sale occasionally. But yeah, so like stuff like that, it's just
man.
So I try to like keep a handle on like what I charge for things like that, because it's like, I don't know, I just don't want to have a bunch of like a store full of a bunch of stuff I wouldn't spend money on. I guess, if that makes sense, because like some people are like, oh, like they'll go spend like, you know, there's other indie brands that do beautiful work and they just sit in a different price point than me, and that's okay. You know, that's a lot of them have like actual storefronts, and like I work from a home studio, so it's like I pay rent and that's it. Like, I'm not paying for a storefront because a brick and mortar is crazy expensive.
Yeah.
I don't have any employees.
Yeah.
Like, these are a little bit larger indie brands who are, you know, writing paychecks for other people, who are, like, maintaining a storefront and, like, that type of stuff. And it's like, I haven't done any, like, actual marketing. Everything is just done through social media and, like, word of mouth. So it's like, I don't pay any money for, like, that kind of stuff. And, like, to where, like, some of those indie brands are a little bit, they do. So their price point has to be different. So, and that's like, you kind of like, you can find an indie brand for lingerie and like almost whatever price point you're comfortable with or what you want. There's like a decent, it's kind of like indie lingerie is kind of this like little hidden gem that people are like kind of finding more and more about. There's some that cater more towards like petite women, and there are some that cater more to just like everybody. Like that kind of like core range. And then there's some that it's like their main focus is like plus size, or that's all they do, but like that's their specialty. And a lot of people don't realize that you get, especially when you're dealing with, I don't know any other way to say this, I'm definitely not trying to sound like or whatever, but it's like you're having to support a large piece of like skin and like flesh, and like, you know, it's like, if I mean, even you probably know, it's like finding a bra that fits is like, but it's like when you start dealing with like two like half spheres and like your chest is like its own cylinder, and you're having to like, it's a lot of like almost like engineering. How do we put the support into this garment? Yeah. How do we still make it beautiful? It's like, it's a very dedicated skill set for larger cup size lingerie. And there are times that I've had to say, I'm sorry, I don't have that skill set yet. It's something that like I'm practicing and like I'm working with, and I send out tester bras occasionally and things like that, but it's just not something that I'm comfortable offering on a consistent basis, because I take people spending their money with me really seriously, because it's like, it's just the reality of like the world that we live in, you know. So it's just kind of like, I really don't want anyone to like give me their money and then, you know, it's like I said before, I don't want you to hate anything that you have that has my name on it. So I typically,
I have never heard one bad thing about a FeatherRed.
Every time I get a good review, I'm always like, I have the worst imposter syndrome. I'm like, really? And my boyfriend's just always like, babe, you're doing the thing.
You're like, doing great.
And he goes back through and he'll like look at the numbers and he'll be like, so what are you up like this month? And I'll tell him, I'm like, I don't know what that means. And honestly, I'm really bad at like percentages. That's not my, I'm really good at geometry and like algebra, and like I did okay with like calculus, pre-cal, trigonometry, that kind of stuff. You give me percentages and statistics and I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. Where am I? What planet am I on? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, is being up by this much, is that good? And he's like, yeah. So it's like, I'm kind of having to like, it's like a weird thing to like sort of have to like accept that you're doing good at something that like so many people told you that it wasn't a thing. Like it wasn't anything you were ever going to be able to like pay your bills with or supplement your income with or like that kind of thing. So like it can be kind of hard to like accept that.
Yeah.
Like for myself, it's like some days I get up and I like get on my order book and I get out like 3 things of pretty lace and I make stuff and I'm like, oh, this is my job. And you also have to kind of like find like, and that's part of like sticking up for yourself too, is like as someone who works for themselves and someone who works from home. And it's like you kind of have to be like, no, this is my job, like this is important, like I need this to be like this so I can do my job. Like, so you really have to kind of like, I don't know, like find your own footing with yourself, like in a way. And I think a lot of artists can identify with that. So it's just like my medium is just fabric now at this point, but I think a lot of photographers can like agree with that, and like even like models, painters, literally like any kind of artist. Like I think you kind of have to go through that like portion of acceptance. Like, no, I am, because there's so much like, you see like a lot of debates and stuff like online, and it's like, well, you're not a professional photographer, or you're an Instagram model, and I'm like, I'm an Instagram brand. Like, my account is my baby. If that thing ever got deactivated, I'd freak out. Like, that's my like main flow. I'm like, all my models are like Instagram models. Like,
yeah,
it's a real thing. The times are evolving. Like, get with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like, you get a lot of that. So like, that doesn't help anybody. Like, well, that's not your only source of income. You're not a professional. And I'm just like, why don't you suck my dick? How about that? Like, I don't like that. I don't. And a lot of people will be like, wow, that's awful. But I don't. To me, professionalism is like I've met a lot of professional people. And I'm like, you're not. No. Like, you're awful. You don't know how to run a business. You don't know how to respect people. You don't know how to treat people. Like, so it's just because you've snookered people into paying you all the time to do this, like, does that really make you better than the person that's like grinding out 60 hours a week, sewing all through the night, editing photos all through the night, or like hustling money to put together a gallery opening? Like, does that make you like more professional? I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, with that being said,
oops, we're gonna end on a rant. Uh-oh.
No, I just want to say thank you for making your way all the way up here, because I feel bad.
It's really not that far. Like, I used to live in Houston. Like, driving from South Austin to like this isn't even like that north. You could live norther. That's not a word. You get what I'm saying? Like,
at least it's not like Pflugerville or Round
I didn't have to journey all the way across the earth, just like a quarter. It wasn't bad. No, I'm like stoked to have you. When you were like, do you want to come do this? I was like, Mom! Like, I tell my mom everything. Aww. So I was just like, she wants me to come do it for her podcast. Because I always take it really seriously when like other creative people want me to like come be a part of their stuff. I'm like, that's so cool. Like, yeah. So
I had to have you on.
I think it's great. I love hanging out with you.
Yeah, same. And I think this is the first time we've ever really like had a one-on-one. Because before it was like,
we always see each other at like social events or like shows, right? And like when we're both like twitchy and crazy, I'm just like,
I know, and I'm just like avoiding everyone.
I wish I could, but everyone has a million questions for me, and I'm like, oh shit, like I'm like, I need an assistant. I'm gonna go hide. I don't like people. Yeah.
But where can we find you?
So the best way, I have a Facebook account for FeatherRed. You can find me there. I don't always post on it a lot because Facebook is kind of Facebook. Instagram is like the best way. I always keep up with those DMs really, really well. You can see like the biggest body of work there, like custom orders, commissions, like shop stuff. That's where I post like all the sales, all the updates, what's been discontinued, what's sold out. Really like the what's going on with the brand. So FeatherRed 1 on Instagram. I hate that it has a 1.
Yeah,
but
I was
it's
gonna
like,
say it was taken. Like,
yeah, actually it was.
What is the FeatherRed? The
nothing.
Normal. Oh, really?
Nothing. And I've even tried like DMing it, and like I don't know how to like bogart someone else's Instagram account. But yeah, it's FeatherRed 1. Yeah, and then I have an Etsy store. If you just search for like FeatherRed under shops on Etsy, it just pops right up. So yeah, and I always have links to everything everywhere. So yeah, just shoot me a DM and see what's up. And I'm like really chatty, and I send a lot of emojis, so like just be prepared for that. But yeah, I'll be like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, and then like a bunch of like hearts and like, you know, like shrug. Like I just I don't know how to use emojis, and I just love everyone so much. So yeah.
Wow.
So yes.
Well, yes. I can't wait to see more of your new stuff coming out.
I can't wait. I have so many things I want to do this year. They're going to be really... I want to do a shoot at Secret Theater this year. I've been wanting
I've never been there yet.
Like the whole time. And I want to do it. I don't care how much money I have to throw down to make it happen. I'm just like, I am in love with the tile floor in the greenhouse.
Yeah. And like having your Victorian look in there. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have plans. Plotting and planning. And yeah, I'm just like... I'm really excited for this year because it's like a different approach from like doing shows and like just doing these kind of like smaller, more focused, and I can work on my time.
Yeah.
And just really like collaborate and work with people that I really, really enjoy working with. So, and hopefully they really enjoy working with me.
Aww.
So, yeah.
Which we still have to work together, by the way.
Yes.
So,
I know.
yeah. Well, I mean, I did that shoot, but not with you. That piece.
Yeah.
But that was more of like for catalog.
You're like one of the best. Like,
oh geez,
honestly,
and
like,
that's how we're gonna close.
She can't take a compliment.
Really
She's like, oh no, we could talk about you all day. We are not talking about me. This is the Fatal Show, and
deflect.
No, get on with that. Sorry.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Cheers, cheers.
Ciao.
Bling.
You can reach us at fatalpodcastatx@gmail.com or Instagram at fatalappeal.